I left my father's wedding invitation sitting on the kitchen counter for 3 weeks, and then I RSVP'd no. And the only reason anyone found out why is because he called me at 11 o'clock at night, 3 days before the ceremony, and I finally said the thing I had been holding in my chest for 2 years. So yeah, am I the problem? I honestly don't know anymore. Okay, so my parents split when I was 16. It wasn't dramatic, no screaming, no throwing things, it was somehow worse than that. It was just quiet. My dad, Ron, moved out in February, and by March he had an apartment, and by April he had apparently also been seeing someone. Her name is Diane, she's fine. I want to be clear about that because I think people assume I hate her and I don't. She's pleasant, she's polite, she remembers my coffee order. Fine. The problem isn't Diane. The problem is the timeline. My mom found out about Diane not from my dad, but from a mutual friend who saw them at a restaurant. My mom called me crying from her car in a parking lot. I was 17. I sat with the phone pressed to my ear for 45 minutes while she tried to hold it together. That is the thing I can't put down. That specific memory, my mom's voice in that parking lot, is the thing that was sitting right next to that invitation on my counter. Ron and Diane dated for 2 years, got engaged last spring, and set the wedding for this past October. He called me personally to invite me. He was excited, genuinely, visibly excited, and I wanted to be happy for him. Part of me actually was, but another part of me kept doing the math. My mom is still single. She works doubles at the hospital most weekends. She doesn't complain about it, not once, but I see it. And my dad is getting a whole second beginning with someone he met while he was still married to her. So when the invitation arrived, I just didn't respond. My sister Priya called me first. She's 2 years older than me and she had already RSVP'd yes, which fine, that's her choice, I respect it. But she wanted to know what I was doing, and when I told her I was leaning toward not going, she went quiet in that way she does before she says something she's been rehearsing. She said, "You know this isn't about mom, right? Like dad's allowed to move on?" And I said, "I know he's allowed to, Priya. I didn't say he wasn't." And she said, "Then what's the problem?" And I said, "The problem is that Diane was the moving on, like simultaneously." She said I was holding on to something that wasn't my marriage to be upset about, and maybe she's right. I've gone back and forth on that exact sentence probably 50 times. But then 3 days before the wedding, Ron called. It was late, I was already in bed, and I picked up because I figured maybe something was wrong. And he asked me directly, "Are you coming?" And I said, "Dad, I don't think I can." He went quiet. Then he said, "Is this about your mother?" And I said, "It's about the parking lot." He didn't know what I meant at first. I had to explain it, the phone call, mom crying, me being 17 and not knowing what to say. And when I finished, he was quiet for a long time, and then he said, "I'm sorry that happened, but I can't undo it. And I need you to decide if you're going to punish me forever." That word punish, it landed somewhere hard, because he's not entirely wrong, but he's also not entirely right. Is that punishment? Or is it just consequence? I told him I needed to think, and he said, "The wedding is Saturday," and we hung up. I didn't go. Saturday came and I stayed home. I made coffee and I watched something I don't even remember, and I texted my dad at noon when I knew the ceremony was starting, and I wrote, "I hope it's a beautiful day. I love you." He didn't respond until that evening. He just wrote back, "It was." 2 words. Priya called me that night and she was not quiet this time. She said our aunts had noticed I wasn't there, that Ron had to tell people I was under the weather, and that Diane had cried in the bathroom before the reception and told Priya she felt like the family would never actually accept her. And I felt terrible about that. I genuinely did, because Diane didn't do anything to me. She met a man, she fell in love, she's not the one who was married to my mom. And yet here I am, making her cry in a bathroom on her wedding day over something that is not her fault. Priya said, "You made your point, was it worth it?" And I didn't have an answer, because I didn't go to make a point. I stayed home because I didn't know how to sit in a room and watch my dad promise forever to someone while my mom worked a double shift at the hospital. That's all it was. It wasn't strategy. It wasn't punishment, but I can hear how it sounds. A few weeks later, Ron called again. Not angry, just quiet. He said he wanted to have dinner, just us. I said yes. We haven't done it yet. The date's on the calendar. I keep looking at it. So that's where it stands. My dad got married. I wasn't there. Diane cried. My mom doesn't even know any of this happened. I never told her, and I'm not going to, because it was never actually about her, even though I think it kind of was. And I have dinner with my dad coming up, and I have no idea what we're going to say to each other. I know what I did. I know how it looked. I know Diane didn't deserve to wonder if she'd ever be accepted while she was getting her makeup retouched before her first dance. But I also know what my mom sounded like in that parking lot. And I know I was 17. So, am I the problem here? Because I genuinely cannot tell anymore. Honestly, though, what would you have done? Comment below.